Hi there, welcome to the Legally Blind Geek YouTube channel. My name is Mike, and on this channel we focus on overcoming low vision challenges. Earlier today I received a notification that there was an operating system update for my iPad. I have the 12.9 inch with the M1 Apple Silicon processor, which I'm really a fan of. If you haven't tried it, you owe it to yourself to check it out. But we're going to focus on the update and how it impacted vision settings, especially important to those of us that have visual impairment. So what do you say? Let's just get into it. We're going to go in. We're going to start out probably with display settings, maybe some text size, make it easier for us to see, less eye strain, and all that kind of good stuff. Sound like a good deal to you? Check this out. Hey, just a quick note before we get into display settings. Let me remind you that I welcome your comments. If you have a question or you just want to share an experience, use the comment section right below the video. I'd love to hear from you. In addition to that, you might want to check out the description box. I'll have some useful affiliate links in there, just simply because I use and I've come to know that they work very well for me and my needs. I think maybe they probably will for you as well. So let's get into display settings on the iPad, running the current version of the iPad operating system, the 18.3.1. Sound good? Here we go. Okay, welcome to my iPad. She's a little bit old now. I think I got this anyway when the M1 processor was available on the iPad. And this is the introduction of the Apple Silicon on their devices. They before was the Intel processors, but I like it, and if you haven't checked one out, you owe it to yourself to do that. So I've gone to settings, and we're going to scroll down the left side of the screen and just kind of look and see what kind of options are available in settings that you can go in, you can play around in, you can set up, you can use so that you get the most out of your investment. Because let's face it, the iPad is a really good value. They last a long time. They are not the cheapest, product out there. But if you're in the Apple ecosystem, you just can't find anything any better. And this is from a guy that came over from the Android and the Microsoft side and started developing my Apple brain. We'll call it, some 10 or more years ago. And I haven't been mournful. I haven't been sorry that I made the choice, but that's a personal thing. Everybody's different. Let's just take a look at what we have to choose from here.
Image creation tools are here. Gemoji, Image Playground, and Image Wand are now available for your iPad. Heading.
Let's see what's next. General tab.
Accessibility button. Apple Intelligence Answer. Apple Pencil button.
Apple Pencil. Yeah, I use the Apple Pencil. It comes in pretty handy for some things. What about yourself? I'd love to hear from you in the comment section down below if you think the Apple Pencil is a good thing and how you might use it.
Camera button.
Camera. I use my camera on my iPad and my iPhone all the time.
Control Center button.
Control Center. Okay. This is something that I use all the time as well. We may look into that a little bit later.
Display and Brightness button.
Display and brightness, we'll definitely look at that a little bit later.
Home screen and app library. Multitasking and gestures. Search button. Wallpaper button. Notifications. Sounds. Focus button. Screen time. Face ID and passcode. Privacy and security button.
Do you ever use Face ID? Does your device, or do you have a device that supports Face ID? What do you feel about that? Good, bad?
Game Center button. iCloud button.
I guess a lot of people play games. I'm not a game kind of guy. I'm games. What about you?
Wallet and Apple Pay button.
If you do play games on the iPad, please let me know what games you enjoy.
Apps button.
It may be something I want to take a look at.
Vertical scroll apps button.
Okay, so we won't get into the apps. Everybody's a little bit different when it comes to apps. So let's go back to, how about display and brightness? Let's see what we can do there.
Display and brightness button. Selected. Display and brightness button.
Yeah, it pretty much looks the same here. You've got the light mode.
Light button. Selected. Light.
And you have the dark mode to choose from.
Dark button. Selected. Dark.
Nothing new there. I prefer the dark mode. You might prefer the light mode. And then there's always this customary automatic setting.
Automatic. Switch button. Off.
You can turn that on if you want to. If I turn it on, it's going to go straight back to the light mode, I'm sure.
On.
And we can adjust this a little bit later. But right now I'm going to go back to dark mode because I can see it better.
Automatic. Switch off. Dark button. Selected. Dark. Automatic. Switch button. Text size button.
Text size, that's probably still, we'll take a look at it.
Selected. Text size. Empty list.
And yes, for those that use the iPad, you may be aware of, you can change the text size. You can make it bold or not. We'll talk about that here in a minute. You can increase the text size via the slider here.
100% adjustable.
As I've got 100%, I can start at the top of the screen with a one finger swipe down and make it smaller.
45% adjustable.
And the benefits of this, as you can probably see, is the smaller the text, the more information you can put on the screen at one time. But when you don't see very well, you might want that a little bit larger so you can see what you're looking at. For myself, I like to have the screen text size at 100% simply because on some occasions I need to turn voiceover off for some of the different applications that I've installed, third-party apps that don't work with voiceover. So I have to turn voiceover off, get my magnifier out so that I can see the buttons or the sliders or whatever I need to find in order to use the apps. Make sense? So I'm going to go ahead and turn the text size back up to 100%.
100%.
And let's back out of that.
Display and brightness. Text size button. Switch button on. Bold text. Switch button on.
I use bold text just because it helps on the larger screen on the iPad. You can turn that on and off right here with this little slider. Just keep in mind that when you turn when you turn bold text on, you'll need to restart the iPad so that it can reset the settings so it works across the different apps.
Brightness heading.
Brightness, we can make that
Samantha
brighter.
enhanced. Screen brightness 60%, 50%, 60%, 50%.
Slider stuff.
True tone. Switch button on.
True tone, you can turn that on or turn that off.
True tone. Switch button off.
I'll turn it off.
Automatically adapt iPad display based on ambient lighting conditions to make colors appear consistent in different environments.
So we'll leave that off for now.
Night shift 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. button.
Night shift, that's the same. We've talked about that before.
Auto lock 2 minutes button.
Auto lock, you can change. I wonder what intervals if they've changed that or not.
Selected 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Never.
Never. I don't know why anybody would want to have that set to never. I guess if you had photograph or something like that on it, you want to use it like a digital, picture frame. I guess you could do it that way. I always find that a couple of minutes is adequate for me. So if I'm not interacting with the thing in a couple of minutes, it just shuts down. And then when I go to open it back up or brighten it back up again, it goes right back to where I was anyway. So it just kind of saves battery, and that's what I want to do. Maybe you need something different. If so, here's where you make those choices.
Display and brightness back button. Auto lock 2 minutes button. Lock/unlock switch button on. Automatically lock and unlock your iPad when you close and open the iPad cover.
Now, if you're using a folio keypad or one of those kinds of cases that has a screen protector on it, if you turn this off,
Lock/unlock switch button on. Automatically lock and unlock your iPad when you close and open the iPad cover.
it will lock when you close it, and then when you open it back up, you'll have to go through your opening process. Whether you're using your accessibility, whether you're using the access code or Face ID, whatever you need to do. When I have this and I have it set up with the folio with the keyboard, I just want it to lock and close when I close it. That way I don't leave it on, because I have before with this turned off so that it didn't work. In other words, I would close the folio and lay it down, and I'd come back 2 or 3 hours later and find out that the iPad was still glowing. It was still on. It never did shut down. which is kind of hard on the battery life. Maybe it was just my mistake, but I want this so that as soon as I close it up, it does shut the screen down and goes into lock.
Display heading. Display zoom default button.
And the display zoom is basically where you can choose to have larger icons, smaller icons, where you can get more on the screen. And this comes in really handy, I guess, if you're using like the split screen, you got two things going on at one time.
Samantha, primary voice, display zoom, default, cancel, button.
So you've got these three choices here.
Larger text. Selected, default. More space. Dismiss pop-up. Display zoom, default, button. Choose a view for iPad. Advanced, button. Advanced, button.
And the advanced, we'll save that for another time. What do you think? Will the display and brightness settings help you get the most out of your iPad? Or has it convinced you to maybe make a change? Pick up your first iPad. In that event, I do have some affiliate links in the description box below on what I believe are some really good deals on entry-level iPads, or even the M4 iPad Pro, the 13-inch version or the 11-inch version, whatever, suits your needs. Really good deals. And if you're an Amazon Prime member, you don't have to pay freight, no shipping. You don't have to get out of the house. You just click that button, it sends it straight to your house. Sounds like a good idea? Check it out. In addition to that, you like what you see, give us a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Any questions or experiences you might want to share, use the comment section. That's what it's there for. So now, having looked at display and brightness, we say we take that one step farther. Let's go ahead and go into accessibility. And from accessibility, we're going to go down to display and text, where we can customize some filters, color filters, stuff that makes it easier to see the screen when you don't have to rely on voiceover. Sound like a good idea? Let's check it out. Scroll down accessibilities. I'll scroll down the settings on the left side of the screen. Go to accessibility. Open the accessibility folder.
Accessibility heading.
And then we're going to scroll down to display and text size.
Display and text size button.
Open that up.
Bold text switch button on.
Now from here we can turn the bold on and off just like we did before.
Larger text on button.
We can go in and we can turn the larger text on that we already have turned on, and we can adjust the text size here. Is another place you can do that.
Button shapes switch button off.
You can change the button shapes. I leave that off. You may choose to put that on.
On/off labels switch button off. Reduce transparency switch button on.
Now here's a good one. I turn reduce transparency on, and the reason that I do that is
improve contrast by reducing transparency and blurs on some backgrounds to increase legibility. Increase contrast switch button on.
And I increase the contrast because, well, when we're visually impaired, contrast is king, right?
Increase color contrast between app foreground and background colors. Differentiate without color switch button off. Replaces user interface items that rely solely on color to convey information with alternatives. Prefer horizontal text switch button off. Prefer horizontal text in languages that support vertical text. Smart invert switch button off.
Okay, smart invert. Some people like the invert, some folks don't. I'll turn that on for just a second and show it.
Smart invert switch on. Classic invert reverses the colors of the display. Classic invert switch button off. On.
So there's the classic.
Off. Smart invert reverses the colors of the display, except for images, media, and some apps that use dark color styles. Smart invert switch button off. Except for images, media, and some apps that use dark color styles.
So you can turn these on, play around with those a bit.
Classic invert switch button off. Classic invert reverses the color filters off button.
And here's where we find the color filters.
Color filters can be used to differentiate colors by users who are colorblind and age users who have difficulty reading text on the display. Color filters off button. Filter preview invert vert reveres.
And here we have all these different colors we can choose from.
Filter preview. Page 1 of 3. Color filters switch button off. On. Select off.
And this is where you can go in and you can change the color of things to make them appear more to your liking.
Use reduce white point. Switch button off. Reduce the intensity of bright colors.
And this kind of helps some folks. I don't see that it makes a lot of difference for me. I'll turn that on just to illustrate it.
Reduce white point on.
Then you have your little slider
Reduce
here.
white point intensity. 30, 40, 47, 50, 60, 70%. Reduce white point intensity. 70%.
So
Adjustable.
I'm going to go ahead and take it all the way back to white.
62%, 55%, 47%, 47%, 40%, 32%, 25%, 25%.
Or you can turn it off.
Reduce white point off.
So there's 100%, and then when you turn this on, it's going to go to the lowest default, which is 25%.
Reduce white point on. Reduce white point off. Reduce the intensity of bright colors. Auto brightness, switch button off.
You may want to choose to turn this on. It kind of tells you that it saves battery life. I just like to leave it nice and bright and leave it on. If I turn it on right now,
Auto brightness on.
it makes a little bit of difference.
Auto brightness off. Turning off auto brightness may affect battery life, energy consumption, and long-term display performance.
What do you think? Post your response in the comment section. Are you an iPad believer yet? Did you find some settings that you didn't know about? You make some changes that are going to benefit you? It's all good. Hey, take a minute, give us a thumbs up if you appreciate the information that we have here. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. For all those that you have subscribed and you come back, thank you. I really do appreciate all your support. Check out the description box for the helpful links that are Amazon links for a really good deal on upgrading your iPad. I'll catch you next one. Thanks. Make it a good day. Oh, by the way, check out the suggestion that YouTube thinks that you'll enjoy and subscribe. Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.